WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, often tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. I'm really looking forward to this bottle. The Bruichladdich Distillery Islay single grain Scotch whiskey, the Regeneration Project, 50% ABV. Now I just opened this up for my German video. What happened? That little cork, the glue became undone, so I can still pull out the cork, and that's all that matters. Now, when I did open up the package, there was a little bit, it was on the side for about maybe a day or so. Shouldn't be like that, but it was a package, and there was a little bit that had leaked through the cork, just a few drops. So we have whiskey base number 228998. And this is something I am really, really looking forward to. I thought that was amazing when I first heard about this project. So this is vintage 2017, and it was bottled on the 2nd of March 2023. There's only 1,800 bottles of this worldwide, and it is a mash bill. Ooh, the word mash bill for the first time in my life that I said here from a product from Scotland is 55% rye, the first time I ever said that as well, 45% malted barley. So primarily rye, 55. In America, it would be a rye whiskey. Now, according to the Regulations Scotch Whiskies Association, there's only two types of whiskeys in all of Scotland. There is single malt, 100% malted barley in a pot still, and there is single grain. So it doesn't matter. It's not in a pot still, and it's not 100% malted barley. So now, if you take from two different distilleries, there's three other categories. You take two other distilleries and you blend the single malts together, you have a blended malt. You take the single malt and the grain whiskey, you have a blended Scotch. And you can actually take from different single grain distilleries and blend them together, you have a blended grain whiskey. So those are the five categories. Whiskey in Ireland. Whiskey in Scotland has to have barley, at least according to the regulations now. Imagine someone started making 100% rye whiskey in Scotland. What would it be? It would not be whiskey. In America, it's whiskey. In Europe, it's whiskey. I'm fairly sure that in Ireland, it's whiskey, but in Scotland, it's not. It'd be some type of distillate, but it would not be whiskey because whiskey has to have barley in it. Now, I do remember actually seeing MGP, for example. When it was the Seagram's distillery there in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, they actually made a corn whiskey with 99% corn, 1% barley. And someone asked, why the 1% barley? It can't be the enzymes. No, because of the rules in the UK. So that our product could actually legally be sold as a whiskey in the UK, it has to have barley in it. It's like, oh. So wait a second. You have Catoctin Creek, for example, in the UK, and they don't have any barley whatsoever. Is it allowed to be called whiskey? All right, so that whole different subject here. What we have here, and this is something I really want to mention, I must commend Bruichladdich for their cooperation with the local farmer, and his name is Andrew Jones. So Andrew Jones began growing rye on his farm on Islay, the Cool Farm, in 2017. Before that, he had actually talked to the people from the Bruichladdich distillery, and he said, and that's what I want to read about here. So I'm just going to read their press text here, all right? So, encapsulating Bruichladdich Distillery's farmer's first philosophy, the Regeneration Project marks the first ever Islay Rye Whisky. Not legally allowed to be called a rye whiskey, but that's okay. But why rye? Accountable for our impact from the ground up, we learned that rye is a beneficial crop which replaces essential nutrients which barley removes from the land. It not only improves soil health, but reduces the need for artificial fertilizer input, keeping costs down from the farmer while being more environmentally friendly. So what happened is Andrew Jones basically went to the distillery and said, hey, if I do 1 year barley, I can't put barley on that same plot of land. The next year I have to wait it, let it be rest, and then maybe a year later. But if I put rye in between, We have 3 crop system, that rotation. So like we do in America often, where rye is often a very big part of that, you can actually put back, I think it's nitrogen is one of the things rye actually gives back to the soil. And so it's very, very, very healthy. Now, in America, what happens with rye and what happened also in other places of the world is you put rye, you'd sow it out in the fall, you let it sprout up, you let it grow a little bit, and springtime comes around, you just plow it under. So all the nutrients would stay in the soil, and that would be actually very healthy for the soil, but you had no benefit, you couldn't sell it. So Andrew Jones actually asked the distillery, would you buy my rye? So now it continues on with text, but with no market for Scottish grown rye, why would a farmer grow it? Well, we could buy it, Bruichladdich said, and create a delicious whiskey while simultaneously supporting our vital agricultural community on Islay, helping the environment and promoting soil health. That's their whole gimmick here. I'm calling it a gimmick. That's their whole idea behind it. After conversation with our distillery production director, long-standing farmer partner Andrew Johns grew the rye in 2017, a first for the farmer, the distillery, and even for Islay, the Hebridean island. The Regeneration Project is the start of something bigger than whiskey, they say here. This innovation which keeps value in the community while pursuing flavor and reducing impact, showcasing the true power and potential of reconnecting land and a dram. So, that is not bad at all. Now, the very, very interesting thing is this is the first time people grew rye on Islay and used it for whiskey. We in America have been using, I mean, come on, you go back to the 1776, we as Americans basically had declared our independence from the UK. What did we drink before that? Rum. Who cut off all supplies of rum? UK. During the war, there was a sea blockade. And so what did we start doing? We started distilling rye. Basically, circa about 100 years later is when bourbon started actually picking up. So we'd send the people over to Kentucky, they'd get to 40 acres of land, 10 would be planted with corn. You turn that corn into liquid gold, which is, of course, I later on called bourbon. You'd send it down the Mississippi, down to New Orleans, you had Bourbon County on it, and then it became bourbon. So what we have here is a totally different mindset. Bruichladdich, I commend them once again for saying, hey, we're going to bend the rules and break them if we have to. And they created something new. And that is so great. Cooperating with the farmer, cooperating with this. There is online a nice little video with Andrew Jones and together with Andrew Bennett, the master distiller by Bruichladdich, where they talk about the whole process. There's been online by Bruichladdich at YouTube. There's a wonderful live stream, 40-some minutes, where they answers questions. Actually do an online tasting with people who had already had the bottle and so on. And I got my bottle one day later. So, and beautifully well done. And there was a question and answer time. It was like, okay, will you stick with the 55-45 mash bill? 9? No, we'll change. Will there be one day a peated rye whiskey from Islay? Yes. I was like, oh, okay. Why not just 55 or 60% rye and maybe 40% peated barley? That's going to be fantastic. Why not? No one says no. And so this is very, very, very great. Now, my only complaint, I'm sorry, is the price. 125 pounds. So I bought it from the European site now. So originally I went online, found 125 pounds. It was like, okay, I add my income, my import tax, 19%. I add my customs and tariffs on top of that. It's going to be another 20%. I add the shipping. And so it's going to be like 200 euros for the bottle. It's just like, no. It's 2017. This is 5-year whiskey, basically. No. And then I found out there's actually a European website now, a shop, which has opened up a few weeks ago from Bruichladdich, so they can actually, within the European Union, send the whiskey to us customers, custom free, and actually with free shipping over a certain price. And with 150 euros, I got this bottle for a free shipping. 150 euros for this bottle. Now, that is still way too much in my opinion. But I really wanted to take part in the history-making session of Bruichladdich. And that's why I was willing to spend the money. I was willing to do bottle share, and about 12 different people in Germany are going to get 5 or 10 CLs and are going to be able to try this whiskey as well and see what's really good. Now, this is Islay Barley. So what did I think? I'm going to take an Islay Barley. I have a 2013 Islay Barley here. It is 45% Islay Barley, so why not compare it to that? What I'm also going to do is I'm also going to compare it to Sazerac Rye. So I had looked, I really wanted to take an Arbiki. I think my bottle's empty. I could not find it. It would have been great to have the only 2 rye whiskies from Scotland as comparison, but I'm going to do, one second. Okay, good. So I'm going to actually do, I can tell the difference between Bruichladdich, Islay Barley, and Rye Sazerac any day of the year here on the nose. Those same glasses I used to my German video I just did. So, now it would have been great to have Arbiki, but there's new batches and so on, but it was a very young rye whiskey, and I don't think they did themselves a favor by bottling it so young, but that's something else. All right, so on the nose, I do get a graham cracker moment with a clove going on here. There's something going on here which is not right, in my opinion. It's just, if I expect a rye, I expect something totally different. It says here, spice from the rye instantly comes through, accompanied with waves of licorice. I don't get licorice. Nope. Black pepper, cinnamon. I got clove. It says cinnamon and nutmeg, which also speaks of the grain and showcases the unique characteristics that rye bring to the whiskey. Toasted oak. A little bit of barrel char I get. A resinous freshness with white chocolate, limes, a touch of citrus to the heady mix. Over time, the Islay character is unmistakable, defined by maritime notes of the ocean, warm and delicate citrus and honey. Now, if someone gave this to me and said, hey, it's blind, what is it? It's like, okay, it's not Scotch. It's not bourbon. It's not rye. This is like an Irish experiment of a young distillery seeing what they can do with a mash bill. I do not know of any, so far, except for Arbiki, of any Scottish distilleries that are playing around with mash bills. English, yes, Circumstance and so on, they're playing with mash bills, and some other places down in England, but not in Scotland. Scotland is, we have single malt Scotch. We have grain. And we don't have anything else. And so this would be not something I would be able to categorize at all. This is surprising. All right, going over the barley, Islay Barley. A lot more of the citrus, a lot more. Maybe that's actually right. The Islay Barley brings a certain citrus here as well. So I'm gonna try. I'll just a whiff of the Sazerac. Oh. We did a mega rye blind challenge over here. 18 different rye whiskeys between 40 and 50% ABV and under 65 euros. This was the third place winner. So Jack Daniel's, a bottle rye single barrel 1 with 45%. Sagamore with 41.5 and Sazerac with 45% came in third place. All right. It's grassy as well. It's green. There's like a fresh lawnmower cut. All right. Cheers. Not really mine. Wow. Oh, that's young. I think I had something, Cody Road. It was from Kansas, I think. That was some of the worst rye I ever had. It was so young, so green. This is young. This is not rye, in my opinion. It might be one day, but it's way too young. Personal opinion. Someone who loves rye. All right. The website of Bruichladdich.com says the softness of the whiskey is counterbalanced by the rye's. Now I like what they say: spicy, peppery heat It is. There is a heat, but I don't think it's from the rye. I think it's the alcohol heat. Toasted virgin oak brings sweetness with marzipan, vanilla, and chocolate, beautifully complementing the spice of the rye and the citrus green fruit notes of the Islay grown barley. With real complexity, depth, and character, a myriad of flavors are at play, each essential in telling the story of the unique exploration into distilling new grain. The whole last sentence has no meaning whatsoever as a tasting note. Sorry, that's marketing fluff. All right, what I do like is what they say about the finish, though. They do say here, while the nose and taste speak of the rye and its distinct spicy peppery profile, the finish is a homage to the oak, showcasing its delicate floral and fruity character. Sweet, rich oak, ripe pear, and green apple are followed by a delicate malty pastry with vanilla custard setting on the finish. Now, the whiskey does this. It's too high. It starts here, goes down here, and then goes up to here. The finish is not bad. The finish promises a lot of potential. But the first taste and the middle part is just, especially the middle part, it just takes it down. It's not where it should be. I put water in this in my German video. It got worse. All right, so I'm going to do one more sip here, and then it's matured entirely on Islay. It's non-chilled filtered. It's bottled using Islay spring water. It's coloring free. And then towards the end, it gets a little bit better. Not my cup of tea. This is a D plus product for taste. This is not something I would recommend for the taste alone. This is a D minus for value for money. 150 euros is way too expensive for this bottle for what we have. kudos that you are willing for the 1,800 bottles out there to say, hey, we're not gonna sell this cheap. This is going to be an exclusive distillery product, and only people that either go online in the shop or go actually on the island and take a bottle home can ever taste this first batch. There will be other batches, there'll be other expressions, there'll be other bottlings, but the very, very first one is a once in a lifetime type of thing. And therefore, the uniqueness of this whiskey is an A. I love the uniqueness. I love that Bruichladdich is going in this direction, is going to create more whiskeys made with a mash bill predominantly of rye. That there's going to be a peated rye whiskey from Islay. That they are going to play around with the mash bill. They're going to play around with the casks. They're going to play around with other things as well and figure out what they're doing there. I think that's exciting, and I do not regret in one single moment buying this bottle and being part of the history-making lesson that we just had here from Bruichladdich. Is it my wheelhouse? No. Is it young and peppery and sharp and it's a lot of alcoholic moment going on there? Yes. But is this history in the making? Definitely. And I'm happy that I can take part in that. Just to have a comparison real quick, the Islay Barley 2013. There is a certain degree of it being similar. I'm not a great fan of the Islay barley either, so I must admit that. There is a citrus green grass moment going on here, which I also get here. I assume it's the Islay barley. I perfectly, totally understand the entire ethos of Bruichladdich. Local, local, local. Yeah, they want to have local barley. They want to have local rye. They want to work with local farmers. Great. Now, unfortunately, your distillery is not in the place from the geography standpoint that's great for growing barley. And so that's also one of the questions, if it's not smarter to have higher quality product brought in from outside of the island than rather than just using lower quality maybe products. Sorry for saying that. Grown on the island, at least taste wise for me. All right. So the last one, just going over to Sazerac real quick. That is what rye whiskey can and should taste like. That's a quintessential. This is a standard example of rye whiskeys. This is not even left field anymore. It's in the parking lot outside left field. This is maybe one day it'll get there, but this is really, really unique. But I will commend, and I still want to praise Bruichladdich for all of their experimental willingness to actually go new ways, working with the farmer together, getting that rye in there, trying it, barreling it, trying it, blending it, getting it exactly where they want to be. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. I hope one day there will be a product in the market from Bruichladdich that's maybe 75 euros instead of 150, and that it's twice as good as this. That would make me a happy person. All right, my question of the day is outside of North America, no Canada, no USA. What is your favorite rye? Rye is made in Germany. Rye is made in France. Rye is made in Ireland. Rye is made now in Scotland. Rye is made in so many different places all over the world. What is your favorite rye that is not made on the North American continent? Please write it down in the description below. Thank you very much for watching, liking, and subscribing. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.